And welcome back to another video. In this video we're going to do a mini tour of Tropical Fruit World, which is in the Tweed Valley in northern New South Wales, in between the Gold Coast and Byron Bay. This working farm has over 500 varieties of tropical and subtropical fruits, including exotic things like jackfruit, mangosteen, durian and finger limes. There is also about an hour-and-a-half tour of all the gardens, including fruit tasting, which you get to taste about 20 different varieties of tropical and subtropical fruits. In this video, we're going to go through a little bit of the tour to give you an idea what it's like, including an absolutely awesome boat ride where you get to see some native turtles.
The farmers are really focusing on water sustainability on the farm. And this hill cops about 90% of the runoff from the top main car park when it rains quite heavy. Now, over the last 30 years, it's really damaged the top layer of the soil in this little dragon fruit garden here. You'll notice at the bottom of the garden, we're updating the garden to these concrete posts. We're coming up on your right and left very soon. It's an old wooden fence-like structure. It's 30 years old, it's rotten, it's falling apart. It's really hard for the farmers to manage both the fruit and also the plants. So while we're updating the garden, we're also updating the irrigation sides of things. Now this road allows us to slow that water down as it comes down the hill on the right hand side there, and then redirect it into areas that we really need it. So we're not connected to town supply for our water, and we totally rely on 5 dams we have on the property and also 7 springs. Now Tropical Fruit World's owned by the Brinsmead family, and Bob Brinsmead first came here in 1948 as a 12-year-old boy. At the time, it was an old dairy/cattle farm. It was a little bit run down, but 8 or 9 acres of it was leased out by the New South Wales Department of Agriculture. And this was known as the Dranbar experimental plot. And what they were actually doing was experimenting with this volcanic soil. We have this red ochre. They were looking to see what sort of tropical trees may grow in it. Now they had about 5 or 6 banana trees, 1 single lychee tree and 1 single avocado tree. So Bob, as this visiting 12-year-old boy, he got to taste avocados for the first time. He fell in love with avocados, he fell in love with the farm. And then 30 years later, in 1972, the farm came up for sale. And Bob and his wife purchased the farm within 24 hours of it going on the market, and they did so with a philosophy that food is medicine. They wanted to create this beautiful little hub that people could come and visit and learn a little bit about tropical trees. Also learn a little bit about nutrition, soil, farming and also nature. And he first opened to the public in 1983 as Avocado Land, and since then it's evolved into Tropical Fruit World. Now we're sitting on just under 220 acres. We have anywhere between 26 to 27,000 trees, over 500 different varieties of tropical fruits as well. And avocados are probably one of our most popular. When we do all our pruning, we drop everything to the ground. Now some of that is turned into mulch and left there, but a lot of it is left there as large branches. And this is done to protect that top layer of the soil. It's also done to help put nutrients back in the soil as well. Nutrients like potassium and also nitrogen. But the main reason we actually do this is to help create what's known as the mycelium network. And the mycelium network is this network of fungi and bacteria that lives in the soil. If you imagine 1 square foot of soil under these avocado trees, there is over 300 kilometers of mycelium network. Now this network is how trees can actually communicate and signal each other. So a healthy tree can pass nutrients and water through this network to an unhealthy tree. Now the science behind it is pretty amazing, and with avocados being the most nutritious fruit in the world and also one of the #1 grain foods in the world, it's super important you create this healthy soil base for the trees to grow in. And then those nutrients are passed from the soil into the tree, into the fruit, and then to us when we actually eat it. Now as you already may know, avocados are native to Central America. But we've got a little guy coming up very soon that's a bit of a special avocado. And he's known as the Charwell, and the reason for this, he's an Aussie species of avocado. They also call him the Rolls Royce, because they say he's the closest tasting avocado to what avocados should actually taste like. And he's just coming up next to you guys very soon on the right. And as I mentioned earlier, this is one of our older avocado gardens. The average fruiting life of an avocado tree is around 30 years. These trees are anywhere between 30 to 40 years plus old. So over the next couple of years, this will be becoming a sapote garden. So we'll be growing mammy sapote, yellow sapote, and also green sapote through this garden. Now the sapote is also native to Central America, and the manly sapote, they say, is the second most nutritious fruit in the world. Doing is they're just seeing how these trees grow within this microclimate, and then from there they'll work out where they're going to create these gardens across the farm. That little guy back there that looked like a papaya, that's actually known as the champagne fruit, and it actually does taste like champagne. Also coming up here on the right hand side is a little guy known as the sapodilla, also known as a chiku. Originally he was used to make all bubblegum and chewing gum, and it's a little sap that comes out of him. Now we've got another really interesting tree coming up. Actually he's really boring to look at, but he's got the most amazing medicinal properties about him, or nutritional properties. And he's known as the moringa, the tree of life. So this little guy next to you on the right hand side now, the reason it's called the tree of life is those little leaves contain every mineral, nutrient and vitamin we need to survive. They also contain all 20 amino acids, including your 9 essential ones as well. Now it does have a fruit, it's called a drumstick. It's not a sweet fruit, it tastes more like a massive hit of wasabi. So for that reason it's also known as the horseradish tree. Now my favourite tree on the entire farm's coming up. It's this little Jamaican lemon tree on the right hand side here. This tree was planted by Bob Marley back in the late 70s, early 80s when he was on tour here. That's not true, I just made that up. That's not even a Jamaican lemon tree, guys, that's actually a Rangpur lime. But on the left we do have macadamias. Now macadamias are native to Australia, actually native to this region. But it was the Hawaiians that first commercially produced macadamias back in the 90s. They made them famous for what they are today. And recently Gold Coast scientists have worked out that 70% of the macadamia trees in Hawaii can be genetically linked to a really small batch of macadamia trees in Gympie, Australia. And over to our right here is our main Anonan gardens, where we grow all our custard apples and also our Nonans. Now, did you see if you guys got jackfruit in your fruit tasting? That little jackfruit next to you now on the right is known as the Chepedek jackfruit. That's the smallest of the jackfruit species. Now the jackfruit is the largest tree-bearing fruit in the world. It can grow up to 80 kgs in India. The largest we've had on the farm is about 40 kgs, contains the entire vitamin B complex. Super high in magnesium, super high in potassium, 15 times higher than bananas actually, super high in vitamin C, and super high in iron. However, that name Chepedek is a play on two South Indian dialects. It just means rind and rubbish. So for the South Indians and also the Sri Lankans, this is a real common fruit that's been eaten for hundreds of years. For us here in the West, it's a bit of a new fruit, and it's used more as a substitute for meat in vegan and vegetarian dishes. It's also an ancient tree. It can grow up to 800 years old and still be fruiting. Now this little garden we're heading down now is our little South Pacific garden. We grow a lot of our citrus in this area, so all our oranges, limes, lemons, tangelos, mandarins, even our largest banana plantation is hidden way over there on the right hand side. And I spent a day picking recently. It was quite a hard job. Every little individual piece of fruit needs to be looked at before you can actually pick it, and all to work out when it will be ready to be picked. Now at the bottom of this hill we're going to turn left, but check out on the right hand side as we do this. This is our dragon fruit experimental garden. So what Bob and the farmers are doing is they're cross-pollinating different species of dragon fruits, and they're coming up with entirely new species. Now they've come up with two so far. One of them is known as Pink Panther. It's one of the tastiest on the market. The other one, they're not too sure what it is yet. They're still trying to work it out. That would take a few more years once they do get it. Sorry, you would have noticed that it was super juicy and super sweet if it's the yellow one. It only contains 1% sugar, so it's super low in glucose. And on the right hand side here is our little tropical berry garden. Now we had a real early spring here. Everything flowered and fruited early. So we're hoping we get another flush before winter hops on. With this warm weather, we are starting to see a lot more flowers popping up in here. Now at the end of this berry garden, there's a little fruit known as the miracle berry. It's native to West Africa. Now when you eat it, it totally changes your taste buds. So anything that's sour will now taste super sweet. So lemons taste sweet, limes taste sweet, even those Davidson plums you guys have in fruit tasting taste super sweet. What it is, it's a glycoprotein in the fruit that causes this. Now it is banned in a lot of countries, And the reason it's banned is because originally it was used as a food additive. It was put into ultra-processed foods to create addiction, so that people got addicted to certain brands and spent more money on those brands. Now, it does have lots of medicinal properties. Anyone going through chemotherapy, it helps you get your taste buds back and get rid of that bitterness out of your mouth. Now, we've got another really cool, interesting fruit coming up here on the right. Hopefully there's some in the trees. They're really, really hard to find. They're called the Buddha's hand. They'll look a bit like an octopus. Now, this fruit is the second oldest citrus in the world. It's native to North India and Pakistan, and this fruit is pretty amazing. It contains no juice, no pulp, no flesh, no sugars, no carbs, no proteins. It's completely rind, but it has the most amazing citrus flavour. It's actually the perfect citrus flavour. Anything that hasn't survived anywhere else, Bob is now planting here. There is everything from breadfruit to a key, black apple, allspice. We have purple mangosteen, rambutan, also durian, which is a smelly fruit. We also have cacao, which is chocolate. And there's another fruit coming up to you guys very soon on the right, known as the noni or noni fruit, also known as the vomit fruit, because when it's completely ripe, it smells like vomit, tastes like vomit, and it's even got the same texture as vomit. But it has the most amazing medicinal properties. So guys, we're going to pull up here and have some farm bananas and also some macadamia nuts.
Cut her again.
Plus, they also regulate a lot of really important other things as well. And dysfunctional mitochondria is aging. So the first signs of aging is that dysfunctional mitochondria, and this urolithin A can actually, and they're really struggling at the moment with a disease known as leaf rust, to the point that they reckon if they don't sort this out, by 2027, there'll be a global coffee shortage. So what these big coffee corporations have done is they've employed all these Ethiopian farmers. These Ethiopian farmers are actually teaching them how to use healthy soil to get rid of the leaf rust rather than spraying chemicals. So it'll be really, really interesting to see if these coffee corporations listen and learn from the Ethiopian farmers and pretty much go back to farming basics. Now, also coming up here very soon on the left-hand side is just some of our many European honeybees we have on the farm. We have anywhere between 100 to 120 hives. That's approximately 4 million bees. So the beekeeper can collect honey without getting stung too much. Now, another really interesting tree is, if you guys look sort of forward and to your left, you'll see a bunch of trees down there, but there's one a bit taller than all the other ones in that little paddock there, and it's got lighter green leaves. Now, this is known as the ginkgo. It's native to China. This species of tree is anywhere between 240 to 270 million years old. They also say it's one of the most medicinal trees on the planet. Anything to do with your brain function and your vascular system, it's super, super good for you. And this little garden we're heading through now is a little Chinese garden. So, now, the longest you guys should have got in your fruit tasting, also known as the dragon eye. And we have about 8 or 9 different varieties of lychees on the farm. Now, you'll notice that some of these trees on the right-hand side here, these lychee trees, have this reddish pinkish leaf on the top of them. This is new foliage. What's really interesting about that is it's a chemical that the tree releases. That chemical acts as a natural sunscreen. It's just protecting the tree against the warmer weather. Now, this is interesting because we're coming into winter and the trees shouldn't actually be doing this. So it pretty much tells us that we're going to have a really warm winter.
Good. After the boat ride, there's also a native bush tuckhead display where you get to try a few different things like lemon myrtle tea. Very interesting, very subtle lemon flavour, but you can also buy the tea as well as the actual lemon myrtle plants. And that brings us to the gift shop. There are so many different options in this gift shop. It was amazing. 90% of the stuff is actually made on site. So you get fresh fruits, there's jams, there's tropical fruit products, and all sorts of stuff. There's also a place you can sit down and enjoy a few very strange meals. I think there was a weird jackfruit type chip thing you could get. There was all sorts of strange things on the menu. Very, very interesting. Now we get to the awesome part. There are so many fresh fruits that you can buy which you never see in common shops or anything like that. And you can even buy all the different fruit trees. I know, I ended up getting a Davidson Plum because that is the weirdest plum I have ever tried. It was so bitter, you had to just try it. It was amazing. Very, very strange native plant that comes from northern New South Wales and Queensland, sort of where I live. In conclusion, Tropical Fruit World was amazing. I couldn't believe how big some of the trees were. It did start as an avocado farm, I think like 50, 60 years ago. There are some massive, massive avocado trees there. Wow. Yeah, if you like anything to do with tropical fruits or just how farms operate, you have to go on the tour. It is much recommended and an awesome, awesome day. If you did enjoy this video, click the thumbs up so I know, and I'll try and make more videos like this. Thanks heaps for watching.